our weekly series, Masterful Parenting. We talk about the issues you may face as a parent. Last week we talked about strong-willed children. Today we are continuing that conversation. Master Mom Amanda Olson is here with more. Amanda, thank you as always for being here. So last week we talked about strong-willed children and how it can be a good thing, how it's nice when your children are starting to form their opinions, but also, you know, knowing how to respect boundaries and when to say that. Now we're talking about, you know, the negative side about having a strong-willed children. And explain to me a little bit about that.
Okay, so I did get a lot of feedback last week, and some people are really struggling with this. So, you know, the child is actually becoming defiant and won't follow the rules and is acting out, that sort of thing. And that can be very difficult, especially if your parenting style is a little more passive and, you know, kind of let them go. That's a tough mix.
Right.
So, you know, imagine if you didn't have any rules in your life or consequences. You know, if it didn't matter if you came to work today, you know, you would still have your job tomorrow, you'd still get your paycheck. You know, how often would you come to work?
Right.
You know, so for the strong-willed child, the consequences need to be immediate, and they need to be something that means something to them. So, you know, what I like to help parents get to is the child obeys the first time. You know, so when they're asked to stop jumping on the furniture, that they actually stop jumping on the furniture. And as you're working to develop, you know, this kind of good behavior, positive behavior, allow for one warning. You know, so give them a warning, but then they should know that after that warning, the consequence is going to happen. Whatever that is,
business, right?
Absolutely. So, you know, saying, stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that. You know, parents say, well, they just don't listen. Well, they're listening, they don't comply.
Right, because they know maybe you're not as serious, right?
Absolutely.
That you're not going to follow through.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of, you know, issues that parents have, is that, you know, they don't want to be seen as the mean parent that's having to discipline them. But there can be some good out of the discipline. It can really help shape these kids, right?
Yeah, you know, when children go to school and they're having discipline issues and they can't stay in their seat or they're not following the rules, other kids don't really like that, and they get in trouble with the teacher, and that really starts affecting their confidence and self-esteem. So by not teaching your child how to follow rules and, you know, whatever the teacher says or the parent says, it actually ends up hurting them in the long run. So it's not a nice thing to do.
Right.
You know, you teach them how to behave in a classroom, listen to the teacher, follow the rules of the game, you know, and they're going to make more friends and more positive connections and work on their confidence, and it's actually a good thing. Right.
And so when you said, you know, when you discipline them, what are some appropriate forms of discipline?
Well, timeout is very appropriate. And, you know, at the Academy, we play games in our class. You know, we have a good time, and we do different skill games and things. And if a child is not being obedient and they're being disruptive, they have to stay in the classroom, but they don't get to participate in the game.
Okay.
You know, so it's, and quite honestly, that only takes 1 or 2 times, and then they say, okay, you know,
I want to play.
I want to play. And then I would also say, and this is very important, is that every time your child does do something right or does obey the rules, shower with praise. Reward. You know, we are motivated by reward or pain, and reward is a much more pleasant thing to do. You know? So whenever they do something right, let them know how proud you are of them, and they're going to continue on that path.
And they actually did it right, you know, and because there may be a time where maybe they don't know, you know, that this is how you're supposed to act. So when they hear the positive reinforcement, then they know, okay, I got it now. Yeah, I like it, I like it. And so, you know, speaking of confidence and everything like that that you get from, you know, having a strong-willed child, but also implementing those disciplines as well. You are actually having a confidence class next week, right after our show. Actually, you're going to be here and then run back over to your studio. Tell me a little bit about that.
All right, so that's for ages 5 to 12. Parents are invited. It's at 1 o'clock next Tuesday at the Academy. And it's just 45 minutes on confidence building, and I'd love for the parents to come. It's open to the public, and there's no charge for it. It's just, you know, with summertime going on, there's extra things that we can do for the community, so we're looking forward to that.
I love it. And so, you know, this has been a very heavy topic, and you brought a joke with you today. Kind of leave the mood with it being lightened a little.
Yes, I do want parents to know that sometimes it can be hard, so I have this little little joke that I tell. So, what did one rocket scientist say to the other rocket scientist?
What?
Relax, it's just parenting.
So there you go. I like it.
So, it's kind of tough, you know, but just stay consistent and it'll all work out.
I love that. Well, there's an email right there. If you have any questions for a Masterful Parenting series, you can just send an email to Amanda Olson. And if you want any more information, you can just go online right there. And there's, of course, a confidence class happening next Tuesday right after the show. So you can see Amanda here on our show and then just head on down to her studio right there on Cherry Street in downtown Johnson City. You can go online or give them a call. And coming up after the break, we'll join Nita over in the kitchen whipping up some delicious food.